Okay, welcome back to Bounce Around Charleston. Here with me is Mr. Michael Allen, a true historian, and he's here to talk about an event that's entitled Courage, Opportunity, Change. Thank you, Michael Allen, for joining us today. Thank you, sir.
And thank you for having me here as well, as always. Thank you.
Okay, tell us, first of all, let's talk about your history with the Park Service.
Well, great. As you well know, I was fortunate enough in the summer of 1980 to begin my journey with the National Park Service. I was fortunate enough to have that complete journey, if you will, here in the Charleston Low Country area, allowing me to work initially at Fort Sumter and Fort Moultrie, then eventually helping to bring online the Charles Pinckney National Historic Site in Mount Pleasant, then helping to bring online, with the support of the community, the Gullah community and Congressman James Clyburn, the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor, and finishing up in 2017, allow me to work with the National Park Service and the Department of Interior and the White House to bring online Reconstruction Era National Monument, which is a new National Park Service site in Beaufort. So that's 37 and a half years of work.
Wow, 37 and a half years. Okay, so now tell us about the event that's coming up entitled Courage, Opportunity, Change.
Well, I was asked by the community in which I reside in, Bell Hall here in Mount Pleasant, since it's the month of February, to share a little bit about Black history and my experiences. So I told them I wanted to talk about courage, opportunity, and change as a theme, because I felt those themes are really reflective of my 40-year journey dealing with history, having the courage to work in an agency, work in an environment that many African Americans have not always had that opportunity to be involved and to be engaged. Take advantage of the opportunity to work for this agency and getting to know folks across the Low Country and around the nation, and the changes that came out of my experience. And I would hope that, my life journey, my experiences, the things I've been engaged with can inspire others that they can operate with courage, take advantage of opportunity, and leave a lasting change.
Now, talk about the monuments that's a part of this.
Well, I began my journey, like as I said, at Fort Sumter in June of 1980. And to be truthful with you, the interpretation or the display or dialogue relating to African American history was very limited. And so a part of my opportunity was to affect that change. So today, if you happen to go to Fort Moultrie, which you have on Sullivan's Island, what the public will see there today in terms of opportunity and change, in terms of the African American experience, is a whole lot different than what I found when I got there in June of 1980. We have still there today, Bench by the Road. It's a bench that was actually dedicated, I think, in 2008. And it's an opportunity to talk about the experience of African Americans and how they arrived in the New World, and having a place just to reflect on that. In 1999, a historic marker was placed adjacent to Fort Moultrie, talking about this is Sullivan's Island, which is one of the major importation sites of Africans into the New World, and specifically here into South Carolina. And the fact that within the visitor center of Fort Moultrie, there's an exhibit called African Passages. And that exhibit really crystallized the experience, the arrival, the diffusion, the legacy, the history of African Americans. And I look at those three as actually foundations for us today, sitting, brother, in the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor, an opportunity that came to birth in 2006, that formally recognized our history, our legacy, our contribution to our American experience. So that's how I want to call myself: courage, opportunity, and change.
Okay, so now who's invited to this event?
Well, it's a public event. I shared with you the Zoom link. Everything's by Zoom. I would prefer to do this in person. That's what I did for almost 40 years, but that's not the reality right now. So, I did provide you the Zoom link, and even though the community that I reside in asked me to do this, this is a public dialogue.
Okay.
You know, over the last 9 to 10 months with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and others, there's been a reimagining and an awakening of the African American experience, presence, and legacy. And so I think having this conversation in the month of February allows us to reflect not just what may have happened over the last 9 or 10 months, but what has happened for the last 400 years. You know, nearly a year ago, our whole world was somewhat stymied by the pandemic,
Okay.
COVID-19. But when I think about the 18th century, and I think about Sullivan's Island, and I think about thousands of Africans that came through Sullivan's Island, the reason why they came there was not because they were on any vacation. They came there because of quarantine.
Yes.
A pandemic of smallpox and other diseases forced the colonial government to quarantine African Americans on Sullivan's Island. So our arrival was birthed through quarantine and pandemic.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
these are the things that these are the dots that have to be drawn and connected with our past, our present, and our future. And so that's why I want Sunday afternoon of courage, opportunity, and change to hopefully be encouraging, to be educational, to be resourceful, but also to be informative.
Okay, so now tell us the date and time of this virtual event.
Yes, it's this coming Sunday, which is February the 21st at 3:00 p.m. I provided you the Zoom link so you all can put that up. And in fact, I checked with the organizer just to make sure that we can handle the pressure and handle the body count. So don't be afraid. I think Zoom can handle all of us. You know, this is a coming together. This is a conversation. This is an opportunity of dialogue. And I'll share with you that many of my neighbors perhaps had not looked at history, had not looked at culture, had not looked at the experience of African Americans. But I think over the last 8 to 9 months, things have pricked their spirit, as we often say in church.
Okay. Well, Michael Allen, we thank you for being a Bounce Around Charleston and sharing about this wonderful event, Courage, Opportunity, and Change, coming up on this coming Sunday. And we'll be there with this virtual experience. Thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you.